It's Friday and time to talk some Major League Baseball, an action-packed card today. Welcome in to the baseball show right here on sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour along with Jason Radowitz and Kyle Purviance. We're going to guide you through this entire card, picking some winners, or at least we hope, after a few-day hiatus for myself. Play the day. Back on track. Here we go today on a Friday. Jason, how you feeling tonight? Mets lost. I like that. I don't think you do, though.
The Mets lost, but my bets won, so I guess I'll take that. I did go 3-0 with the sweep and got the Padres plus 157. Yeah. There was a lucky double, but there was also a lucky double play, and we were able to cash that Padres ticket, which was big. And that's why you might be seeing me close my eyes during the show. I did have to stay up late for that game and wake up early to get you guys all this analysis for today. So great night for me in baseball, but yeah, the Mets, they're struggling a little bit.
First thing I checked this morning, I woke up just to see if that play hit. I was like, that's beautiful. Nice little dog play wager taken down. Kyle, welcome in. Friday. Ready to get after it, huh?
Ready to rock. And unlike Jason, I was the opposite. I was in bed at 7 o'clock, slept a full, strong 12 hours. And when I woke up, I looked and go, oh, my God, there's no games in the 40s. There's no games in the 30s. There's no games being postponed. And there's a lot of spots to like today. So full 15-game card. Of course, we got the one game going on already. We tweeted out that little plus money bet here. Let's go Brewers first 5. Excited for today. Happy Friday, everyone. And as usual, love being here with my two favorite gentlemen every day. 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern. Set your timers.
And by the way here, taking a look, because you brought up weather. And when you bring up weather, I get a little bit like, you know what? Right. Let's talk a little bit of weather. Next week, Jason, our neck of the woods, 84 and 85 degrees next Wednesday and Thursday. Here we come hitting weather. We waited for it. We're finally going to get it. But you are correct here, Kyle. Across Major League Baseball, not crazy nice temperatures, but way better than what we've been seeing over the past couple of days. We do have a game that is in progress right now between the Brewers and the Cubs, sitting in the top of the the bottom of the first inning. And we do have a double by Chris Bryant here. So a man on second base for the Chicago Cubs. I was actually looking at this game before it went off. I thought the Cubs team total over 4.5 minus 135 was going to be a decent play here. Brewers, Cubs, Anderson, Hendricks, live numbers here. Obviously with that double is going to change some things up. A 198 for the Cubs and an over-under live of 8.5. Any thoughts on this game, Jason?
Well, usually when Hendricks has a bad game, we kind of see him return back to form and look pretty good. Obviously, his last start, he allowed plenty of home runs. It was really more of a disaster for Hendricks. But this is a guy that, he's a solid pitcher, consistent pitcher, and when he has a bad game, he usually comes back strong. So me personally, I would have liked the Cubs in the first 5 innings or in the full game, but I understand why many run the Brewers with the plus money. Probably more of a 50-50 game. I just think the Cubs had a slight edge, especially against a lefty. Obviously, we saw the Mets have a couple lefties out there earlier against the Cubs, and it didn't go well. So that's why I would have leaned towards the Cubs a little bit, but stayed away from this game and understand why some were on the Brewers as well.
Yeah, decent weather today in the city of Chicago, so we'll see how that plays out as the game goes on. If any changes, any scores, any numbers come in that we like on this game and want to certainly press that bet button, we will do that to keep everybody updated. Thanks for tuning in to us here on a Friday. 85,200 people now as we continue to rise step by step by step, trying to get us to 100,000 subscribers. Thank you for doing that. If you have any, and by the way, another double here in the gap, Anthony Rizzo. So the Cubs are on the board 1-0 early here in the first inning. But as I was saying, thank you for hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't done so yet, click that button, turn your notification bell on, because when we go live to talk Major League Baseball, you'll get it delivered directly to your inbox. Let's flip it down and get into the games today, boys. And there are a lot of them. Let's start down in Baltimore today. 965, 966. Decent weather here. Cole Irvin, the lefty, on the mound for Oakland. Lopez, the righty, for Baltimore. If we look at the numbers, Oakland is a favorite here. Oakland is red hot. Across the board, 127 to 130s is where that's showing. And, hey, look, I don't like Irvin as a pitcher, but that tells you what Oakland has done some damage over the past couple week and a half. Horrible start to the season. Great momentum right now. 9.5 to 9s across the board. You can get 9s with some juice at most of the New Jersey outlets. I'll start with you first in this game, Jason. What are you looking at here between Oakland and Baltimore?
Right off the bat, I am making an official play on the Athletics, minus 125. You're getting a top-tier team in the Athletics going up against an Orioles team that will probably be in the bottom of their division. So minus 125 for the Athletics, going up against Jorge Lopez, a guy who's allowed more than 2 home runs per 9 innings, really bad with guys on base, does get a solid amount of ground balls, but ZRA really high dating back to last year, 7.18, FIP 5.61. And, we watched Irvin in his last start. Yeah, he struggled versus the Astros, but he looked a lot better in his last outing against the Tigers, who have obviously struggled versus lefties to begin with, but 0 runs versus the Tigers. He's been able to limit walks really well, just 1.4 walks per 9 innings. So if he's able to limit the walks, I do think that he could get out of damage against the Orioles. I think he'll be fine here. So, yeah, I think Irvin, had a little bit of a start that, kind of got his confidence a little bit here. And Jorge Lopez, this guy has been getting absolutely trashed in all of his starts this year. And I think the Athletics should be able to score some runs offensively there. So, yeah, give me the Athletics minus 125. I was kind of confused when I saw this money line taking the much better team. Obviously, the better bullpen, the better everything, really, for the Athletics. So, minus 125 on the money line. Full game. We're going with it.
Yep. Yeah, I was close to actually taking a team total here on the Baltimore Orioles, 3.5 minus 145 at MGM, because I do think we're going to get some runs here. Not necessarily saying that the Baltimore Orioles will win the game, but Cole Irvin, interesting here. He is a lefty, not a big strikeout pitcher, does have some pretty good command, but not like a normal lefty here. He's doing very well this season against right-handed batters and struggling versus left-handed batters. Now, there's going to be a lot of right-handed batters in the lineup today for the Orioles, so I was close on that one, but just didn't pull the trigger. Kyle, your thoughts on this game between the Orioles and the Athletics?
Yeah, the line on the A's doesn't make much sense. And even the first 5, minus 0.5, minus 105. We're talking about a team that's won 11 straight games. And during that 11-game winning streak, they're outscoring their opponents by 3.8 runs per game. The bats have come alive. Do I love Irvin? No. Do I love Irvin in DFS? Yes. He's 6,700 on FanDuel and 6,200 on DraftKings. We saw the upside in his last start. This is not a great Orioles lineup. So is Irvin a great pitcher? No. But does he have some upside against a bad Orioles lineup that scored, 70 runs so far? I mean, we're talking just an abysmal offense here. 6,200 on DraftKings, a guy that just put up 46 through 6 innings in his last start. Start before that, didn't have huge points, but still went 5 innings. If I'm paying down in that 6K range on DraftKings FanDuel, I want a guy that I know will go at least the 5 innings, get the win if his team is performing. So I like that quite a bit here. I will take the A's. I like the A's first 5, and I like them full-time. Both lines make a ton of sense to me. Minus 105 and minus 125 for the hottest team in baseball versus the Orioles. Sign me up.
Anderson only gets 1 out and gets injured here for Milwaukee, so he's already out of the game. God. Pitching change in the first inning, and there's 1-0 Cubs, Mental first and third, still with 1 out here, so a lot of damage looks like it's going to be done. That's tough because sometimes you get those bad breaks, you want them to go your way. But obviously, looking at a Brewers, number on this one might not look so good at this time. But we'll see where it ends up. Also, keep in mind, if you want to jump back in or try to offset that, you can with some of these live numbers. But we'll see how this first inning does play out as we continue down our list on a Friday chock full of Major League Baseball action, 969, 970. Those New York Yankees, the one thing you know about me today, I will find an in-game number that makes sense on those New York Yankees. Worked out perfectly for me yesterday. The Yankees actually scoring runs. Are you kidding me? Montgomery's going to be on the mound versus Allen. 2 lefties here, and we are seeing some movement here in the favor of the New York Yankees. Does everybody think they woke up? Maybe. Pinnacle offshore, minus 125, goes to minus 145. FanDuel opens up at 126, now at 158, over under 8.5 across the board. Yankees, Indians. Jason, your thoughts?
I really think Montgomery has the tools to be a really good pitcher. But then you go back to his last 2 starts, 4 runs, I think, 4 home runs too? 2 in each game. So that's where you're struggling right now, letting a lot of home runs. Look, your strikeouts 9.59 per 9, walks under 2 per 9, and then his LOB percentage is about average, maybe a little bit below average at 67.7%. I think the Yankees are the play here. I like Montgomery in the first 5. I think the Yankees can probably score a couple runs against Logan Allen, who's also struggled as well. So the Yankees minus 145 in the first 5 on the money line would be my best bet here.
Yeah, if we're taking a look at this game, it's kind of tough for me to quantify because, again, we're still waiting on the Yankees. Maybe they woke up a little bit yesterday. It didn't start out so good. They looked like they were in embarrassment, giving up 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Looked they were going to get wasted, and, the fire Brian Cashman's, fire your manager, fire everybody started to seep in, but settled into that game, got some timely base hits. Doesn't look all that good from a batting, progression here, Kyle, early, but you're expecting these guys to come back because if I just read the lineup to you, LeMahieu, Stanton, Judge, Urshela, Torres, Sanchez, Hicks, Frazier, and Odor, you're like, hey, that says runs. Hasn't equated yet, but maybe saw a little bit of what's to come once we get some hitting weather here. Kyle, what are your thoughts here on the Yankees and the Indians?
Yeah, I feel better about the Yankees today than I have all season long. Just the numbers stand out, and we can go through the advantages right here. 47, 29, 64, 43, 26, and 44. And 31. Don't let me forget that. There's only one guy in their projected lineup. That's Mike Ford, who doesn't have a nice advantage today against Allen, and you're still not getting a horrible number. Now, listen, it's an untrustable Yankees team, but we're looking at a decent money line here. We're looking at minus 0.5, minus 115 first 5. I certainly think Montgomery has the advantage on the mound. And then, we just talked about the value of Irvin on DFS, FanDuel, or DraftKings. Sort of the opposite here, even though I do like Montgomery and think he gets the win. He's 7.5 on FanDuel. That's just fine. But now he's 9,200 on DraftKings. That is, I would any day of the week pay $3,000 less for Irvin against Baltimore than I will for Montgomery against Cleveland. Like the Yankees here, first 5. I think the Yankees get it done today. Like their lineup for DFS. And if you're playing FanDuel, not DraftKings, you can go a little Montgomery. That's the only way I would play him.
Yanks. We'll see if they can do it again. But again, follow me on Twitter because I will be holding and jumping in and yelling at the Yankees. I don't know why it's the Yankees. Like, this should be any other team. Like, I'm not even a Yankees fan, but I just find it so odd that you wait because if you take it pregame, you're like, why did I do that? It's the 3rd inning. We have no runs. What am I doing here? You can always get that depressed number because if you're looking at the 4.5s, they quickly turn into 4s, 3.5s, and 3s as the game moves on. Yep. And sometimes when you're ahead of those numbers, like yesterday, case in point, it was 2.5 as a team total for the Yankees. Didn't jump in on it yet. I put out that meme, with Braveheart, hold. Higashioka was the 9-hole hitter. So I'm like, he's probably going to make it out. I want to wait one more inning. But Higashioka doubles down the line and sends the live total from 2.5 only to 3. So I'm saying, wait a second here. Nobody's out top of the lineup, man on second base. Even though it moved up a half of a run, it didn't move up a full run, considering that we thought Higashioka would score anyway, which he did. There's a lot of value on in-game wagering where you can really tattoo a few things, and that was one of those spots there. So we'll see again if we can jump in on the Yankees a little bit later tonight. Let's head down to Houston, 975, 976. The Angels and the Houston Astros. Heaney, the lefty, versus Zach Greinke, the righty. Opened up at 125 offshore. That now sits at 135 as a favorite towards the Astros. 8 runs last night, Jason. More of the same for these Houston bats, or no?
We talked about this yesterday. These games between the Angels and Astros are always going over. Always go over. These two teams love to hit. Obviously, we got better pitchers on the mound now. Andrew Heaney going up against Zach Greinke. The Angels do well against Greinke for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And the Astros bats are really hot right now as well. So looking at this, again, could be an over game, even between two pitchers that have FIPs of 3.6 and lower, dating back to last year. I still think there's capability of runs in this game. Trout got injured last night with a hit by pitch, so we'll see if he's able to play. Obviously, Rendon's still out, and Walsh is starting to maybe not hit as well as he did. So let's see. The Angels lineup, they're really hard to figure out. Pujols hit a homer yesterday, but they're so hit or miss every game. But this is a game where they have good numbers versus Greinke. So I do think that this would be the spot where they could do well. It looks like the Cubs are going to score another run here.
Ouch.
So that's 2-0. But yeah, again, I do think that we can see runs in this game. Maybe a little bit towards the Astros more just because I'm not sure if Trout's playing or not. I don't know if we have an update on that just yet. But either way, I do think we'll see a ton of runs in this game. Low key.
Yeah, infield hit here by the Chicago Cubs. Nice play by the shortstop. Just wasn't able to make the turn quick enough as the player beat the throw to second base. So we'll see how this continues here. But it could be a long day. Over-under now spiking up to 10.5 as a live number sitting on FanDuel. Looking at this game here tonight down in Houston, any looks here, Kyle, that you have between these two ball clubs, L.A. and also Houston?
Yeah, I'm still looking at a total here of over 8, and I love the over in this game. And Jason touched on it. This projected Angels lineup, including Trout, which I think Trout's going to play. He says he wants to play. Looks like just like a little elbow thing. If you've played baseball,
he should have still been in. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've played baseball for any amount of time, you've gotten hit on that elbow. It'll buzz for a little bit, and you're just fine, a little sore. You can hit the ball. So I expect Mike Trout to be there. That projected lineup for the Angels tonight, decent sample size here, one of the better ones you're going to get, 49 to 165. 297 career average off of him, and you look at the advantages here. Walsh 2, 54, 17, 29, 16. Mike Trout 8 for 23 lifetime, a couple of dongers off of Greinke here. So I like the Angels team total. You're looking at a team total here of 3.5. 3.5 for the Angels off of Greinke, who I've never been a big Zach Greinke guy. I've had him in a couple fantasy baseball leagues. Not my favorite guy, but over 3.5, minus 120, and they have a lot of advantages here. I like it. On the flip side of that, when you look at the Houston bats, if I could, so many games today. Good Lord, 15 games going to the Houston bats have advantages as well. Gurriel 56, Bregman 57, Correa 33, Maldonado 40. So there's some advantages there. I think this game plays to an over. I'm not all that concerned about the pitching. I actually faded both pitchers in DFS. I want nothing to do with either of them. This feels like an over game to me, and I really like that Angels team total over 3.5, minus 120.
It'll be interesting because last year, if you look at the stats from the right-handed pitching side of hitting for the Angels, they did very well. This year, really struggling. It's like that big three in the middle and nothing else. But we'll see if that turns around tonight because you're not asking for a lot of runs, which is the key. It's not 5.5 where you need to get 6. It's a lot lower, so it is depressed. Yeah. Also, keep in mind one of those games where Zach Greinke gets hot and comes out and has 3 shutout innings, you might be looking at a 2 that you can get in that game. So when we like stuff mid-game, because we always, and Jason always comes into this question as well as myself, and probably along with Kyle. Hey, do you think I liked it over 4.5 and it's a third inning. It's now 2.5. Do you like it? Yeah, probably like the same thing. It's that old adage where if you take it pregame over 4.5 and nobody scores in the first inning, you don't throw the game out like, I missed it. You know, there's no way I can hit this team total still. It still has a long way to play it with bullpen, and all it takes in Major League Baseball with no clock is one decent inning. Get the first 2 guys on, and you can have a bonanza of an inning. We'll keep moving down the list here and take a look at Cincinnati versus St. Louis, 9:57, 9:58. That's Gray and Kim, the lefty, on the mound. Some line movement today in St. Louis's direction here. Opened up at 120 at Pinnacle, now sits around minus 100. Same thing at FanDuel, New Jersey, 122, now sits at minus 108. Over, under, across the board. 7.5s and 8s are showing up. Good little battle today. What are we going to get out of Sonny Gray? Let's take a look here, Jason, first from you between these two.
This is a fun game. I'm excited for this one. You got the Sonny Gray and you have Kim on the mound for the Cardinals, who actually pitched pretty well last year, despite not having a ton of strikeouts. But he's struggled against lefties as a righty. Kim does, and outside of Carpenter and Williams, they have Edman and Carlson who are switch hitters, but they also have Carpenter and Williams who are lefties who have been bad against righties this season to begin with. So there's potential there as well. Gray also pitched his first game of the season not too long ago and looked pretty good. Didn't go too long, but we know he's going to have a higher strikeout percentage, but also walks going to be a little bit higher as well. This is really a big toss-up, honestly, but I would probably side with the Reds. They've been the better offense so far, and I think that there's more advantages for the Reds here. So I would say the Reds, it could go either way, though, really.
It's interesting looking at it, too, because when you take a look at the lineup versus right-handed pitching, which obviously Kim is a lefty, Reds are destroying everything. But when you flip it over to the other side, not so good. And we have a lot here, Kyle, of what we like to – and by the way, this game is over and done with in Chicago. Ugh. Bases loaded, double down the line. So it looks like maybe 3 runs are going to score. Maybe they held them at third. Now, all 3, Hayward does score, so 5-0 early here, 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. So I see here on my list, Cubs team total over 4.5. I did not bet it, but dang, already got that in the first inning. Those are nice. But getting back to this game between Cincinnati and St. Louis, Kyle, we have a lot of 0.0 club members here the early season versus lefties. Winker, who's destroying right-handed pitcher, he's a 0.0 ISO versus lefties. Nick Senzel, 0.0 versus lefties. India, 0.0 against lefties. Farmer, 0.0 against lefties. And Stevenson, 0.0 against lefties. What are you looking at in this game here, Kyle? Yeah,
this game's really tough for me. This was sort of a toss-away game for me, a game I just didn't want any part of. I do think there might be, and you just mentioned all those numbers against lefties. If you take their 3-year numbers, there are some decent numbers here for the Reds. If you take their 3-year numbers, again, it's kind of, a catch-22 there. Their team total's at 3.5, and we're talking about one of the best offenses in baseball, right? So, even though I'm not in love with it, when I see a 3.5 at -130, I'm slightly interested. I didn't put any of my money on it personally. I have a little bit of Sonny Gray in DFS. That's about it. And I got Suarez on the home run watch list. He can always go yard. He has hit a double in 4 at-bats off of Kim here, and has, he's actually a little bit better against righties and lefties over the last 3 years, but maybe one hangs over the plate and Suarez can hit it out. Mostly a stay away game for me. If I was going to bet on this game, I'd probably take a look at that Reds team total. And just what you talked about, maybe you wait 1 or 2 innings, they don't score, and all of a sudden it's down to 2.5 or 1.5 with one of the best offenses in baseball. Then you take a swing at it there. One thing to keep an eye on, too, if you're betting it live, the Reds bullpen has been absolutely disastrous. They're not good at all. So it might be a situation here where you could live bet it and get some value later on in the game. We're talking about the second worst bullpen in the major league so far this year with an ERA just over 6. So it might be something to keep an eye on with live betting in this game.
No, certainly. And by the way, here's one that we always like, the Fetty fade, which I believe is coming up for everybody here. Whether or not you want to take it, it's up to you, because you ain't getting any bargain today, but that's 953, 954 as we swing it around Major League Baseball. Washington and the New York Mets. Fetty will be on the mound, the righty, versus DeGrom, also a right-handed pitcher, opened up at 273, offshore at Pinnacle, now up to 284. And we have more runs here in the Chicago Cubs game as they double once again down the line. And Marisnick comes in 6-0 in that game. But getting it back to this game between the Mets and the Nationals, -300 here in New Jersey with FanDuel, over under 7s across the board. The Mets haven't hit all that well. I can't even believe the Mets didn't get their team total yesterday with the opportunities that they had, but that's neither here nor there. Looking at today, lefties can absolutely pound Fetty. You're going to have some good lefties in the lineup for the Mets. The old adage goes, they don't like to score runs when DeGrom is on the mound, but they should score tonight. Like I've circled on my chart here, 4.5, and you're getting it at like +100 to -105. There's no reason to believe that the Mets cannot touch up Fetty in this game, Jason.
And that's the only way to really hit the Mets there. Obviously, if you look at their money line or their first 5, just kind of ridiculous numbers, especially for a team that hasn't really hit the ball too well. But yeah, of course, look, we're getting a little bit better weather now for the Mets, and there's a lot of people out there. The Mets stink. The Mets have a really terrible offense. You gotta give them some reasonable weather, and they will perform. But with that said, I do think a lot of people like the Nerfies. This obviously has potential for that, with the Mets not being able to score when DeGrom's on the mound. But again, it's a risk, and that's why I don't play them. I'm just pointing it out there that's possible. The Mets should be able to score against Eric Fetty, and this could be the game where they come out early and score, especially for DeGrom. So I'm not taking it. I'm just throwing it out there that if you want to take it, it's at, I think, around -150, and I guess there's potential there.
Well, if you're throwing it out, that means on camera you are playing it, Jason.
No,
so go
official.
ahead, Kyle, and talk
But
about
if Mets score, I'll be happy.
That's an official play for Jason, folks. Just
That's
write that
official
down.
right there.
Make sure you tweet him if they lose. I'll make this short and sweet in the spirit of time. I've got 6 Mets in my DFS lineup. Obviously, you don't want anything to do with the Washington's lineup against DeGrom. And he's one of those guys, too. You may not even see the bullpen. If he gets hot and his pitch count's low, he could go all 9 innings. So no Washington. DeGrom in a good spot here. Nice advantages. And I got 6 Mets. From Smith to McNeil to Conforto to Nimmo to Lindor, they should all be able to hit. Even Pete Alonso, who is better against righties than lefties, should be able to hit here. So it's Mets or bust. The problem is you're not getting the only value you're getting is their team total. Because if you take even their first 5 or their money line, we're talking like -320, -185 in the first 5. You just don't see very often. And that's where it's at today. It's Mets or bust. I'll keep it short and sweet. Tons of Mets in DFS. Stack those lefties, throw in a little Alonso. And hopefully they hit the ball. I mean, it's the National League least, right? Just like the NFC least. That division is dreadful. The teams are dreadful. Sorry, boys, but they're all pissing me off. And if you guys could help us out, hit the like button, because if we weren't live on air after that first inning, Cubs Brewers, there would be shit flying all over my house as I would be chucking it at the walls, and my dog would be freaking out. But that's a painful one. But it's Mets or bust for this one, and team total is the only value you really get, so you may as well jump on that.
like a football game here, over under 14 live here between the Cubs and the Brewers. And if you like to take, I love the fact that you have live run lines is great, because you can get, just like a football game, 7.5 with the Brewers right now, if you would like, which is wild when you even talk about stuff like that. But that's how live in game, you always have it. Like, usually be like, I'm tapped out, this game doesn't make any sense. You can get set. It's not even 6.5. It's 7.5, which is incredible as we take a look now. But hey, it is what it is as we keep it moving forward. Let's head up to Boston, 967, 968 Seattle. Mariners going to take on the Boston Red Sox. Some extra innings explosions by the Seattle Mariners, which was great because I got in once again on a live number yesterday at a live over of 7 when the game was 3-2. They tied up 3-3, go to extra innings, blow that right out of the water. Kikuchi, the lefty's going to be on the mound versus Perez, opened up as a 127 favorite towards the Boston Red Sox. That's up another 10 cents or so to 139 at Pinnacle, offshore back here in New Jersey, 152 at FanDuel. So a nice little favorite here for the Boston Red Sox, over under between 9 and 9.5, depending on how much juice you want to play in this game. And as I'm looking at my card here, I'm digging on some team totals in this game. I think both of these teams can hit their team totals. Boston at 4.5 and the Seattle Mariners at 3.5. What are you looking at, Jason, in this game?
I was going to say the same. Two lefties on the mound. Kikuchi's been unlucky, right? He's got an FIP of 3.57, dating back to last year, and an ERA of 5.05. But I'm not sure if it's really unlucky or he's just really bad in terms of contact and balls in play, because the BABIP is 299, which is, it's a normal rate, and he struggles with guys on base at 32.7% LOB percentage, which is way below average. So we keep saying Kikuchi's unlucky, but I don't think he's that unlucky. I think he's really just that bad with runners on base, and that's something that he struggles with. And of course, if the Red Sox can get players on base, they should do fine, because they've been really good as an offense this year in the first place, and should be able to score with runners in scoring position in the first place. On the other hand, you do have Perez, doesn't get a great amount of ground balls, and has a Sierra of 5.27, which is just so ugly. I think we can get runs on both sides. Obviously went to extra innings and we got the over yesterday in this game. It could happen again where you get the over in this one. But, I do think that over time, the over will hit in this game. And if I had a lean, I'd lean the Red Sox to win the game in the first 5 and the full game. I just think the Red Sox have the better offense. But the Mariners, they're sneaky right now, and they're really good. They've been fun to watch, especially Henniger and France. They've been 2 terrific bats in that lineup.
Yeah, you got to take a look at, a little bit of a leap on these teams, because you don't have that much to, go off of, being only 23 days into the month and left-handed pitchers. Obviously, they see much more right-handed pitchers than lefties. But when you stack up both of these pitchers, and also let's take a look at last night, where you get a little bit of lucky by getting the over, but that's why you have to factor it in. When you're taking unders, you're going to take a beating when the game goes to extra innings. They can put up big numbers because there's runners on base. We were talking about yesterday the wind conditions where it was still blowing out, like 35 degrees, 32 degrees with the wind chill. Today we're looking at Boston, first pitch, 58 degrees, and we have winds blowing out 15 to 16 miles an hour to start. Yep. It dies down as it goes, but still double digits. You're going to be, by the time this game ends, still in the 50s, which is much better weather than what we had last night, Kyle.
Yeah, and, we lucked out. We got that Mariners money line. That was an official pick we gave out yesterday, and there it went. The over in that game went, and this game feels like a lot of the same. And the Mariners are a sneaky underdog here. I'm just going to say it right now. First 5, they're plus 110. I like Kikuchi way more than I like Perez. I know neither one of them are world beaters here, but I just think Perez absolutely stinks. I really do. I love stacking righties against Perez every time he's there. And we look at Seattle's lineup today. Even one guy who has a disadvantage, Kyle Seager, he's 12 of 46 lifetime off of Perez with a couple of home runs. That's not all that bad considering he has a 37% disadvantage. But the rest of that lineup, 40, 14, 25, 21, 95, 84, 4, and 15. So the Mariners, I think, are a live dog in this spot. I lean the over in this game. If I'm putting a bet here, I think Kikuchi outpitches Perez here. And I like both lineups, by the way. Boston's lineup, a ton of advantages here. You can stack both these teams in DFS because Boston's not bad either. We're looking at advantages of 61, 64, 94, 36. And I know I'm leaving one out here. And 27 for Martinez, and I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, but a 90% advantage for Bobby Dahlback. I mean, who gives a damn? But nonetheless, both teams should be able to score. Yeah, Bobby Dahlback. Oh, good. Reminds me of
we'll
Dr.
throw it out
Doback.
there. Official
Dr.
banker
Doback.
play of the day.
Yeah.
Bobby Dahlback home run.
Bobby Dahlback home run prop.
You guys heard it here.
Dr. Doback from Step Brothers. That's all I think about. I just think of the dad and the kids beating each other with pans. But both teams should be able to score runs here. I like both lineups. I'll give the slight advantage to Seattle. I'll take that plus money first 5, plus 110 money line in the first 5 innings. Let's go, Kikuchi.
Don't call me Mr. Doback. Okay, Doback.
Okay, right, Doback, so. Exactly.
That's great. That's such a great line. Such a great line. Let's keep going forward here. Kansas City and Detroit, 971, 972. Minor the lefty versus Mize. Over under in this game, 8.5s across the board. Favorite is dropping here, though. KC opened up as a minus 130. That's down to minus 113. And the New Jersey outlets basically have them at a pick'em. Jason, we'll go over some quick thoughts on you. Kansas City and Detroit in this game today. What are you looking at?
I'm on the Royals minus 115 in the first 5. It might have lowered. I don't really care. Have we seen the Tigers against lefties so far this season? Really hasn't been good. I know they have 9 righties in the lineup. I get it and all that. And actually, Minor's been better against righties this year to start the season in the first place. So I think Mike Minor has a good day against the Tigers. The Tigers have struggled against lefties all season long. There's really not much there to the Tigers' offense. And they will probably end up striking out a ton. Minor does have 9.21 strikeouts per 9 innings and walking about 3.11 per 9. Casey Mize coming off a really bad game. He's now allowing 2.03 home runs per 9 innings. And strikeouts are lower than 8. The walks are about 3.5 per 9. I think the Royals have some advantages there in their lineup. Even some lefties in there like Benintendi. I feel like this could be the game where he breaks out. I like the Royals in the first 5. I think they're able to score some runs, and I think Minor holds it down.
Yeah, and when you look at the, Minor the lefty here, Kyle, I look at, there is a lot of stoplights here on Detroit's team today because even when we're looking at Minor's xFIP, it's over 5. That's a disaster. So you're saying to yourself, all right, he probably struggles with right-handed, batters, which he actually doesn't. The lefties are giving him the problem, but you're going to get 9 right-handed batters against Minor, and it all looks horrible. I
don't mind it.
I don't. Yeah, the Detroit lineup, like like that's the first thing I did. I was like, oh, Mike Minor's pitching today. Where are the righties? And I'm like, oh my God, it's the Tigers, and it's gross. I don't have a single Tiger in my player pool, not a single one. Think about that against Mike Minor, who's just been a disaster.
Yeah.
Think about that. I don't have a damn one. That's an interesting stat by Vitalis in the chat. Tigers are still 5-1-1 at home in the first 5. Just don't. Yeah, the bullpen of the Tigers is the worst bullpen in the major league. So, sometimes I look at this first 5 and I see minus 0.5 plus 120 for Kansas City. I might just wait and do that full game. Let that bullpen implode. They are by far the worst. We talked about it yesterday, and it's going to ring true every single day. Just got to take the Royals full line here. And a little home run prop on Salvador Perez, like his advantages, like his history there. I think Salvador Perez could go yard as well. So I'll take the Royals. I'll take that full game money line. I don't exactly know what it is right now. I was looking at the first 5, but I'm minus 115 I'm looking at, minus 110. It's Royals all day long. I'll take the Royals money line.
Yeah, I'm a team total over guy, and I looked at this game and was like, all right, I spent about 15 seconds too much on this game.
Yep, exactly.
That's a tough one to try to get into, but those are the ones where you just contrarian value. Like, I'm just going to take the over. Like, I knew they would finally hit tonight. Is what it is. 973, 974, Toronto and Tampa Bay. Matt's the lefty versus Glasnow, the righty. If you're looking to fade Glasnow, have fun with it because I'm not in that business. Minus 148, they open up as a favorite. Now up to 159 being the Tampa Bay Rays. If we look across the board at the totals, there's a reason why that total is low. And primarily, it's not really Matt's. It's Glasnow and how effective he is. 7 as the total here, Jason.
And when I was doing my research, I liked that under in the first 5, and then I saw it was 3.5 at plus money. And good luck taking that because you have Steven Matz on the mound, who's looked really good in the first 3 starts, but we've seen him implode before. It just takes a couple home runs, and you lose that under in the first 5. So no chance of taking that. But yeah, Glasnow, 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's ridiculous, and he's been tremendous. Matz has been too. So yeah, I like the under, but I have a feeling that the Rays might score some runs in this game. And even the Blue Jays, they do have a solid enough offense to maybe score a couple as well. So staying away from this game, but I do like the Rays in the first 5 if I had to choose. but I'm not going to choose because that would be silly.
It's official.
It's official, and it's on camera, so you actually did choose, even though you did not choose. Yep, so that's the way it's going to go. Kyle, taking a look at the bats here, because I think Jason brings up a good point. I don't really want to get in the business of fading glass now, because when you look at his numbers, he's at 24 innings pitched this year, 0.73 ERA, 1.25 expected ERA, his FIP, 1.03, and an xFIP of 2.36. And, oh, yeah, you're down in Tampa Bay, literally one of the worst hitting ballparks in baseball. So when you try to flip it over and try to find what you would like to do with the Rays, team total doesn't seem all that bad. You're looking at expected weighted on base average tonight versus lefties for the Rays. 6 out of the 9 batters at average or plus. That's the way I'll be looking at this game here. Why are you taking a look between these two teams? An over and under, maybe some value on the side? What do you got?
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of value here unless you want to take a sniff at the Blue Jays, which I'm with you. I do not want to do.
Correct.
This is the Nerfy. The chat box knows me way too well. This is my favorite Nerfy of the day. I don't think there's any runs in the first inning here. And, typically I like to make fun of Steven Matz. He's been pretty good. And now there's no denying Tampa Bay has more advantages tonight than does Toronto. So if you're betting aside, I suppose I would take Tampa Bay as well. But my real play on this one, just make it quick and easy. Get it over with in the first inning. Tap that Nerfy. Both guys should be able to get out of the first inning, no problem. That's my official play on this game for the day. That's right, official. This is official Nerfy right here on the show.
Yep, can't erase it. 9:55, 9:56, Arizona and Atlanta. Weaver and Enoa. Welcome back, Ronald Acuna, who's expected to be back in the lineup tonight for the Atlanta Braves. They opened up as a 143 favorite over Arizona, spiked to 167 offshore at Pinnacle. At the New Jersey outlets here, particularly FanDuel, opened up at a 158. That's now at a 172, 8.5 across the board. We're going to get some runs in this game tonight, Jason, with Acuna back in the lineup, or you don't trust it all that much just yet? Which way are you looking here, if any?
At first, I was really high on the Braves in the first 5 innings, but now you're going to look at this Arizona lineup. They're going to have 7 lefties in that lineup, and it doesn't really strike out lefties as much as he does with righties. So balls will be in play. Does that mean we get hits? Does that mean we get outs? I mean that's up to wherever the ball goes. But the Diamondbacks are a little bit sneaky here. I still think the Braves have more advantages on offense, and agree with the Braves more, especially with Acuna back. But I mean, look, they're going up against Luke Weaver, who allows a ton of hard contact and doesn't really get too many ground balls, 31.9%. The Braves should be fine, but can the Diamondbacks score some runs? Potential there where they can score some runs. They will probably get balls in play. Where does the ball go? That's the question.
The ball just went out of the yard for Rizzo. 7-0 here for the Chicago Cubs as they continue to roll. But back to this game down in Hotlanta between Arizona and Atlanta. Here's the interesting part, because I like to take a look at matchups. And again, we're still early technically in the season, about 3 weeks in. Give it another 2 weeks here. We'll have some hard and fast numbers that we can get after. But taking a look at Enoa, there is going to be a lot of left-handed batters in the lineup tonight. Just about outside of Nick Ahmed, it looks like everybody's going to be from the left-hand side. Here's the issue. For right-handed batters, they're really getting off on Enoa. 354 weighted on base average in an ISO, Kyle, 385. Lefties, he's held it down. 221 weighted on base average in an ISO, 0.095. Something's got to give tonight. What are you looking at?
Yeah, and the lefties for Arizona suck. I mean, I guess David Peralta's okay, but they suck. I mean, I know they scored a bunch of runs the other day, but for me, Acuna back, I don't love either pitcher here. I slightly favor Enoa. If you look
another home run by the Cubs, 8-0, second inning. Go ahead.
There we go. Good thing so that first 5 tweet I tweeted out. If you guys could delete that, maybe I need to go delete that. Good Lord, like what the hell did I get wrong there? But this projected lineup for the Braves tonight, it's a small sample size, but they are 14-36 lifetime, a 389 average in there. You know what? Maybe 1 or 2 rotations here through versus Weaver, and you're getting Acuna back, and you're getting a first 5 number here of minus 0.5 runs at minus 105. I think there's some value there. I think the Braves get it done tonight. They put up some runs. Short and sweet, take the Braves first 5. Not a whole lot of interest in either pitch. A little bit of Enoa because he's cheap on DraftKings at 7.5. We've seen some of that 49, 45-point upside earlier this year. So if you want to go Enoa against a bad, soulless Arizona offense, I don't mind that either.
All right, Texas and Chicago White Sox, 977, 970. I see Dunning on the mound, but I do have on a couple outlets here undecided for the Chicago White Sox, but also see Cease listed at a few. So I'm going to assume that he's going to be the pitcher tonight. 148, 145 favorite, depending on where you're shopping around. 8s across the board. Texas, Dunning's done very well this year. Cease, not so much, but it's always about trusting those Ranger bats. And if I say the Rangers will not score tonight, they will score 6 to 7 runs. I'll start with you first here, Jason. Any quick thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Dunning is a terrific pitcher. He's looked really good for Texas so far. And he's the one pitcher that gives Texas a chance to win games. And that could happen here against Cease. Cease is a guy that, obviously last year I always faded, and he always, ruined me. 3.98 ERA, but a 5.87 FIP. So we want to talk about lucky. Yeah, Cease has been really lucky, walking 5.35 batters per 9 innings, 1.62 home runs per 9 innings. There's a chance that Texas can score here with their offense. They do have a lot of lefty bats that have some power. They can get the ball out of the yard, and if they just be a little bit patient and get some walks and get on base, and you get a blast with a couple guys on base. Yeah, I think Texas has a chance to win this game. I'm not going to put money on it because they're Texas.
Oh, you just did. Yeah. Oh, you just did.
Money. It's official.
But yeah, I do think Texas has a chance. I do.
I love it. Yep. I do agree with you there. Any thoughts on this game, Kyle, between the Rangers and the White Sox? I didn't spend much time with it once I saw the pitching matchups, and I haven't spent much time with a Texas lineup because I just fast forward right through. I need to get some of these numbers, a little bit thicker, to say the least, for Texas before I jump in. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a dog or pass, and you want that dog number to be a whole lot better, right? So for me, it's just a stay away here. DFS, I'm trying to look if I had interest in any low left, low left, or low left. Is it Nate Low or Nate Low? Son of a bitch, I always forget. Low left.
Low goes.
Low goes.
He's got to go.
He's got a nice little advantage there. That's about it for me in terms of the Texas lineup. And I know for Chicago, a little bit of a Abreu, maybe some Yoan Moncada in there if you want to get down with that. Abreu has a 6% advantage here and has had some success. Makes me nervous because he had a huge game yesterday or in his last game, so it's hard. When they have a huge game, I tend to stay away from the next game. You don't see it continue. Pretty much a stay-away game for me, dog or pass, but I would want that Texas number to be a little bit juicier before I hit the button.
Didn't spend a lot of time on this game. 979, 980. Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Brubaker versus Happ, the lefty on the mound. 150 to 160 favorite, depending on where you're shopping at. Another ball goes off the wall here, and more Cubs runs are scoring. 9 runs now, still with 1 out in the bottom of the second inning. Brubaker versus Happ. Any thoughts, Jason, on this game?
Yeah, I think the Twins have the edge here, especially with those righties in the lineup: Donaldson, Cruz, Buxton. They should do damage against Brubaker, who's struggled versus righties so far this season. I think it's a 400 weighted OBA so far against righties. So definitely potential there for those batters. So if you want to take maybe an over 1.5 on total bases for any of these guys, they're all pretty much against a guy like Brubaker. They probably won't strike out too often. Walks aren't that high either. So they'll probably get the ball in play. So maybe I'd look towards those player props for Buxton, Donaldson, and Cruz. All of them have a chance to get a double or a home run.
All right, and another run just scored for the Chicago Cubs to make it a clean 10 here in the bottom of the second inning. Baseball never ceases to amaze me that you do have a team that has a brick wall as an outfield. So get over that. I wonder how that would fly in the NFL at this point with a brick wall in the back of the end zone. Maybe not on that end of it. Let's keep moving along. Yeah. This game seems about right here. Vince Velasquez, the guy who should never be a starter in Philadelphia, who they bring in 20 pitchers every year to get Vince Velasquez out of the starting lineup to be a pitcher. And here we are tonight. Vince Velasquez on the mound versus Marquez, 959, 960, the Phillies and the Colorado Rockies. I had this game circled on my list. Colorado's team total over 4.5, minus 145 listed at MGM. There's no reason to believe that Colorado, 50 degrees, no real rain or snow conditions here, wind blowing slightly in 5 miles an hour, but a decent night out in Colorado. I don't see how the Colorado team stays under 4.5 runs versus Velasquez. I'll start with you first here, Jason.
I agree. I like the Rockies minus 115 in the first 5. Yeah. I think they should be able to score some runs, and obviously you have the better pitcher in Marquez, who's obviously knows Coors Field a little bit better and gets a ton more ground balls as well. I think the Rockies have tons of potential here. I think their offense is getting a little bit better now, and that should show in this one against Velasquez, who's his strikeout's really high. He's striking out a ton of batters, but also walking a ton of batters. And batting average of balls in play, 386. And when you're in Coors Field and batting average of balls in play is 386, that's not going to be really good for you. So yeah, I agree with the Rockies here. I think they're going to be able to get the win, and I think they can get 5 runs at least.
Yeah, by the way, Jack Falk brings up a good point because Wrigley used to actually be the home of the Chicago Bears, but they're so crazy about it that they had the college football game, which they do play every once in a while there. You have to go only one direct. I mean, why are we even playing the game at Wrigley? You got to go one direction. What is this, like old school Nintendo where they don't have enough graphics to go both ways? I mean, come on now with that nonsense. But anyway, back to this Philadelphia Phillies game that we're talking about here. I agree with you, Kyle, and this is just not from, the grass is greener on the opposite side. I've seen Vince Velasquez. I have the crystal ball right now. Vince Velasquez, 4 innings, 86 pitches, and the bullpen's got to go the rest of the way. I'd be very surprised if, number one, the game doesn't go over, because even though the Phillies are down a couple players with injuries, there's not great, action. They're not great bullpens here. Not bad weather in Colorado. What are you looking at, Kyle?
Yeah, I like the Rockies as well. I had some slight interest in Marquez. He's looked fairly decent this year. He does have a 64 and a 43 in 2 of his last 3 starts against the Phillies, and it's the Rockies or bust. And we've made fun of this Rockies lineup, but the advantages are there across the board. I'm looking at a first 5 over here at my bookie of minus 0.5 at plus 110. I think it's one of the better plus money spots today. So I will take the Rockies first 5 minus a half a run at plus 110. Just more advantages. I have nearly every hitter of theirs in my DFS player pool today, from Crom to Blackman, Tapia, even some Trevor Story's a little bit worse. Ryan McMahon, who's a little bit worse. I like the Rockies today. The team total I had on the book I was playing was 5.5. That's way too much for me to ever take. I'm never going to take a 5.5 unless it's like you or I pitching. The 4.5,
I don't know.
though,
I don't like.
They might get there. Yeah, no.
Selling runs. I would sell runs against Vince Velasquez in Colorado. Like, what honestly, are we going to, is Vince Velasquez going to go 6 innings, 1 earned run in Colorado? Like, is he really? Now, it's funny that I'm saying this on camera because it's very easy to bring back up when he does do that. But if he does, more power to him. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. It's Rockies first 5 minus 0.5 plus 110. Get that plus money number there. It's a full fade of Velasquez. It should always be a full fade of Velasquez. And even with that less than, attractive lineup for Colorado, they should get the job done tonight. So I'll go Rockies, and I agree with you. The team total makes a lot of sense to me as well.
If you didn't like the 7.5 that the Brewers were getting, you might love the 10.5 that they're getting on the 5-run line right now in baseball. Can you believe it's happening? Yes, it actually is. 2 games left on the card here, 961, 962, Miami and San Francisco. Alcantara's on the mound versus Wood, the lefty. Not a lot of runs last night. Not a lot of runs expected tonight. 7.5s that are now 7s across the board. Slight favorite towards San Francisco here, Jason.
I went back and forth between these two. This is a great game. This is going to be a close game. And with it being close, seeing that 7, you just get a 3-3 game. And, you're going to at least push and potentially win. You've got extra innings. Alcantara or Alcantara or however you guys want to talk, say
the home. I'll give you a little bit of a break here. The home feed for the Marlins, which would probably know best, they call him Alcantara every time.
Okay, so we're gonna call him Alcantara, and Alcantara, he's allowed some runs in his last couple of starts. Does have good outings, but somehow teams are able to score runs against him, and the Giants did just that. I think it was the 6th inning in the last time out, and Alex Wood. 1 game, came back and looked pretty good, against the Marlins as well. So, I think this game still goes over. I think either of these pitchers can pitch well, and either of these offenses have enough to be able to score a couple runs. So you might even see both these guys get quality starts, and they can both just allow 2 innings or 2 runs in 6 innings, and this game could still go over. So I can't pick a side. I'm going back and forth. I see both sides. So maybe just pick the tie, if that's even a thing, and take maybe over 7 in this game.
There you go. Taking a look at this game out on the West Coast there, Kyle. Any thoughts here between the Marlins and the Giants?
I think it's another nerfy candidate. When you look at the games today with the 2 lowest weighted 3-year OPS advantages here, when you weight it for pitcher versus projected lineup, this is the lowest on the slate. Both these pitchers should have some success today. that total of 7 makes me nervous because it just feels like every game should get there, but I don't know if I could touch it because I don't like a lot of the bats today. I have a little bit of Chisholm at the top of the lineup there with a 21% advantage. When I go down to the Giants, not all that pretty. If you want to get the top of the order, which is good in DFS, LaStella has a 42% advantage there, a couple hits lifetime. Other than that, looks pretty ugly for me. I don't expect a lot of runs, so I think the only thing, if I was going to bet this game, which I'm not, would be a Nerfy.
All right, last game of the night, and maybe the best game of the night, 10-10. Are we going to go back on another dog shot here for Jason? San Diego and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Kershaw, obviously at home in Chavez Ravine versus Darvish, the righty, opened up at 7.5. That drops down to 7. Even seeing 6.5s across the board at all the New Jersey outlets. Slight favorite here to the Dodgers, 142, 145, 150 in that range. Are we going back to the well tonight, Jason?
I'm going back to bed a lot earlier today. That's more like it. Yeah, no, I do like the Padres in the first 5. I think Darvish probably does a little bit better in this game, but again, it could be a 0-0 game. So that's why I would take plus money with the Padres. I think Padres have a potential, have a little bit more of a chance, especially with plus money when it's more of a 50-50 game, in my opinion. But yeah, both pitchers, they struggled in their first game. They've looked a lot better since, and that's what you're probably going to get today. It's going to be a great game. Hopefully I can stay up for it, but I haven't got much sleep today, so probably won't be able to, but I'll be waking up and seeing the highlights of it for sure.
Yeah, something's got to give tonight because both of these lineups hit right-handed pitching very well, but they're 2 pedigree pitchers on the mound here. Kyle, how are you looking at this one?
Yeah, and the number's so low, it's basically turned into another dogger passing. Both pitchers have done very well against the projected lineup. Kershaw, they're 32 of 141 lifetime, a 227 average. Darvish, a much smaller sample size. The projected lineup for the Dodgers has had 38 career at-bats against Darvish. They have 2 hits. Two for 38 lifetime off of Darvish. He had 52 and a 49 in his last 2 starts. So even though I love the Dodgers a whole lot more against righties than I do lefties, maybe not this particular righty. For me, you're just taking the dog here. I never trust Clayton Kershaw, especially if it's Padres Dodgers, so they're going to consider it an important game. Who's the most untrustworthy big-name pitcher in big games? It's Clayton Kershaw of all time. He's an absolute joke in the postseason. He's a joke in big games. He's a midget who can't get it done when it matters most. In my personal record book, the most overrated pitcher in the modern history of baseball. I absolutely cannot stand Clayton Kershaw, so I'll take the underdog. I'll take the Padres tonight.
Well, looks like Dodgers 7-1 final. Congratulations, Kyle, on that pick. So let's get to some best bets and bankers here on the card. Jason, we'll start with you first. What are we looking at? What's the good stuff tonight?
Yeah, so I'm on the Athletics, minus 125 against the Orioles on the money line full game. And I'm taking the Royals minus 115 in the first 5 on the money line. But again, the first 5 for the Royals. And those are the 2 bets for today.
I had 6 games picked out today, which I'm going to obviously already have it narrowed down, and that best bet is in. Kyle, go ahead. What do we got tonight for you, best bets and bankers?
Well, I agree with the A's. I like the A's a lot. First 5, and I like them full-time. I also love that Angels team total over 3.5 minus 120. And if you're looking for a little plus money bet, we talked about one just a few minutes ago there with the Rockies, but I also like the Pirates. I didn't really touch on this much, but I think the Pirates team total over 3.5 at minus 115. I love their advantages today. And if you get a first 5 money line at plus 130, you could do worse than that. I think the Pirates pull it out in the first 5 as well today.
Came down to 2 games for me tonight, and the 2 best ones I thought had looks on. Look, I like the Mets. I like Boston. I like the Cubs. Actually, it's great. The Cubs got 10 runs. I didn't make any money off it. Nice, but the 2 I really liked tonight was the Seattle Mariners and the Colorado Rockies. And it came down simply to me for this is Martin Perez, to me, not a very good pitcher. Vince Velasquez, not a very good pitcher. So those are 2 guys I wanted to center up and try to get after. Ball should fly out in Colorado, yes, but it's also National League. You only get 8 at-bats. I, however, still do think Colorado is going to get 5+ runs in that game. But if I'm going to spend my money, I'm going to take the Seattle Mariners team total tonight at MGM, which is 3.5 at minus 145. The reason being, you're going to get a lot of right-handed batters in the lineup for the Mariners, but also keep in mind, Mariners haven't done all that well against against lefties, stacking right-handed batters. I think that's going to change tonight here, just because it's not so much of the batters I'm worried about for the Mariners. It would be the pitching of Martin Perez. If we take a look just against right-handed batters this year, 374 weighted on base average Martin Perez gives up, and that also equates to a 5.59 xFIP, which is terrible. If you take it back to 20 2020. He actually was a little bit better weighted on base average at 321, which is right around the average in Major League Baseball, but still an elevated xFIP of 4.97. Disaster. Take it back to 2019, 353 weighted on base average to righties, an xFIP of 4.85. All disastrous. Not asking for 6 runs tonight. I just need 4 to cash this ticket in Fenway, 55 degrees with the wind blowing out and a full 9 at-bats. I'll take my chances tonight. Finally feels good to get back into the ring and see if we can press on and get our 10th play of the day winner from my side here and hit that tonight on a Friday. Done it on the show. Look at that, 45 minutes, or actually 55 minutes, in and out, full card. Now, keep in mind, if you guys think I talk fast, wait till Monday when this show goes into hyperdrive, which a new format designed to get those best bets and bankers out quicker, showcase the top games of the day, and leave it up to you guys in the chat box to tell us what games you want to hit on the rest of the card. I'm excited for this on Monday. We'll have a great time, but certainly a big weekend ahead. Let's clear these bases, get in and out. Nice week once again, Jason. We're going to top it off tonight. And yes, you will stay up for that Dodgers-Padres game. Oh, you don't care? Oh, okay. Well,
no, I you know what? I saw the clear the bases thing, but no, I want to watch the game. It's Dodgers versus Kershaw, so I might turn it on, and I might not be able to go to bed once it's on. So there's potential there for sure that I do stay up, and if I am, I will tweet out.
When are we hitting Atlantic City, by the way? When are we in Atlantic City? Are we there all weekend? What are you doing? Taking the weekend off?
No, I'm still going. I'm still working. We're going to give out my plays tomorrow, and we're still going to be cashing while we're driving, while we're in the casino, while we're eating steak, whatever. We'll still be cashing our bets. But, we're going to go about the afternoon. I still got to get working in the morning.
There you go, Kyle. Big weekend ahead here. Any golf in your plans? What are you looking at doing?
Well, it's going to be cold this weekend, so I'm going to sprint from here. It's the last warm day for the next 3 days, so I'm going to go golfing right after this. Yesterday was a disastrous day, so disastrous that I got angry and put my brand new golf clubs up for sale because I'm trading in the Callaways. I'm going to Ping or Titleist. I'm pissed off at these new irons. 2019 Big Bertha irons, I'm hitting them like I'm a junior in high school. I'm pissed, so I'm selling them, although I might retract that. I'm just emotional about it right now, but damn right we're getting some golf today.
There you go. By the way, real quick, I'm going to ask Jason this final question in the chat box by Akbar. Nationals team total, it's actually at 1.5 today. Does that hit, Jason, versus DeGrom?
You're asking the Mets guy. I would say no, but like
1.5.
Probably yes.
That's so low. You got to do it. It's pain. You got to do it.
Exactly. It's pain.
The best part is they'll get it in like the first inning too. Like they'll score. There'll be 2-0 heading into the. But you're like, oh my god, that was so easy. And then the game ends up 7-2.
He's allowed a couple hits, and those have both been home runs. So you just never know if a guy gets on and hits a 2-run homer. But we have the entire slate of games today. I don't know if I'd be able to handle that.
There you go. Another Friday, another great week here on the channels at sportsbook.com. Thank you guys for participating, having fun, joining the show, and also supporting everything we do. We will be back Monday with a new look of this Major League Baseball show. You're going to have to tune in to find out. I'm Donnie Seymour, Jason Radowitz, along with Kyle Purviance. We are the Major League Baseball show at sportsbook.com. Cash those tickets in, and we'll see you on Monday.